made my first $100,000 wholesaling real estate, and more specifically, how you can do the same thing in your own wholesaling real estate business. What is up, guys? Zach in here, and in today's video, I'm gonna show you how I made my first 6 figures. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Zach. I've been wholesaling real estate for over 8 years, and I've done over 3,000 wholesaling real estate deals. And the truth about getting a wholesaling real estate deal is it comes down to 2 components, right? After teaching more people than anybody else in the wholesaling game, right? You need either money, and you probably need time starting out to start going out here and producing wholesaling deals, right? Cha-ching, money, moolah. And so to produce the said outcome, right? We want money, we want an assignment, we want a deal. We are going to need to throw money in this business and time. That's how most people go out here, right? Maybe they'll throw 50, 100 bucks into a software, dialer, whatever. Then they start going crazy on the calling and they throw their time in there, they drive for dollars, right? That's pretty much the equation for success in wholesaling. But the question really happens is, okay, well, Zach, what if I don't have, for example, any time? How do I go out here and do wholesaling deals? Well, if you don't have time, you can technically still get VAs and virtual assistants, right? Because if you keep pouring money into the problem, you can make money, right? So it's like me and my business, right? I don't have time to cold call, but I can throw money at the problem and kind of get solved with my expertise and knowledge. On the flip side here, let's say I have no time and I have no money. Unfortunately, you're not going to get any deals. But that's not how most people start out in wholesaling. The most common equation that I've seen in wholesaling here is they don't have any money, but they do have time and they want to produce deals. That's actually how I got started in this business. And if you're watching this and you're broke, but you got a lot of time, this is the video for you. So this is the method I did to actually start getting rich and successful in wholesaling real estate, because I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, a lot of people on YouTube say you need to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month to get started wholesaling real estate. I don't believe that. I think that's one of the dumbest takes I've ever seen. You do not need to be dropping $6,000 a month to be a legit real estate investor or wholesaler. You don't really need to spend any money. You just got to go out here and throw the time in there, but you got to do it in an effective way. So of course, we can't go get a bunch of awesome softwares like X Leads for $100. We have to be very, very technical and sniper-like of how we're going to spend our money. So what do we call this type of method when you have no money, but you want to throw your time in? This method is called sweat equity. And that is how I got my first $100,000. Pretty much what I did was I threw in my sweat, my hard work, my muscles, and I threw my time in this industry, and I can produce wholesaling deals. Now you may be like, Zach, you can produce wholesaling deals without spending any money? Yes, you definitely can. And I was able to do this because I had an unwavering focus on just getting deals. And what do you mean by this, right? Well, think about me, okay? So think about me starting out. Look at little old Zach right here. Skinny as a twig, 17-year-old little Zach, all right? This was me when I was starting out in this business, right? So I was 17 years old. Yes, I am certified UNC status now because I'm 25. The kids told me that, so that's great. But basically, think of a 17-year-old Zach. I'm in high school. I don't got much money. $300 in my bank account, working as a bag boy. How do I start getting deals? Well, all I did was I tried to get all these eyeballs, right? Motivated sellers. These are their little eyeballs, right? And they are where the money's at. And so for most of real estate investing and wholesaling, most eyeballs are going to be thrown at whoever's spending the most money to go get that, right? So maybe it's going out here and it's like a TV ad. People are going out here and cold calling. People are going out here and doing direct mail. And all of these extremely expensive marketing channels are kind of sucking up all the eyeballs. And that's true. And I wish to tell you this is a lie, but even in the wholesaling real estate industry today, most of the eyeballs are being sucked on whoever's spending the most money and who can throw the most volume. That is why if I were to send 4,000 text blasts today to motivated sellers, I'm gonna get a lot more eyeballs than you if you're just gonna call 300 people. I'm going to win because more eyeballs are looking at my message, which are then going to go out here, churn out and convert into wholesaling deals. So the real question is, when you are starting out and you have no money, how do I beat my competition who is just pouring so much money? They're shoveling money into getting all the eyeballs. Well, thing is, you could still get eyeballs on your message without spending much money. And so my personal story of what I did was, little Zach, running around my high school wrestling tournaments. What I used to do is, let's do this as the ground, right? I used to throw these little bandit signs, right? And it says, we buy houses cash. And I used to throw them out there. And they're really cheap. It was like a couple bucks per sign. And I started to get some eyeballs looking at me on these messages. And that converted into a wholesaling deal. So I got my first wholesaling deal, made $25,000 at 17, and eventually made 100 grand by the time I graduated high school because of just one thing. I did not get shiny object syndrome. I didn't look around all the time. I just focused on what was making me money and producing eyeballs, throwing bandit signs out there. Now, everyone knows I'm a certified UNC now, okay? That means I'm an old head, I'm an OG, I'm an old man. That doesn't really work too much anymore. That is just a story of how I got started. Now, I might be like, well, Zach, how can me, an actual young guy, not an old man like you, start getting wholesaling deals in 2025 with sweat equity? Well, let me give you some really, really, really good news. The technology now is better than it was when I got started. And so you have more options now when you have no money to start getting eyeballs over to your message that you're looking to buy houses for cash than any other time in history. So you are definitely in the right place. The cool part about this little system I had was there were no funnels, there were no tools, there was nothing fancy, just straight up sweat equity work. Now I might be like, okay, Zach, well, how is this affecting me and how can I just start getting money now in wholesaling real estate? Well, here's the problem. Let's go back to 2025 right now. Let's go from 17-year-old Zach and throw this into 17-year-old you. Okay, you're 17, you're 18, you're 19 years old. How do you start getting deals right now? Well, the thing about it is bandit signs aren't really gonna be a good option. And what's even crazier now is wholesaling's gotten more popular. So there's way more people taking eyeballs away, right? There's people who email blast. We got the SEO people. We got Facebook. I mean, we got all this money and attention being poured to attack motivated sellers to produce wholesaling deals. And these are where a lot of the top real estate investors, wholesalers do. There's not much you're gonna do to really beat them in getting millions of dollars this month. What you need to do is start sweat equity, make 100, 200 grand, and start reinvesting that in the marketing to be just kind of like these really good wholesalers, because I'm kind of in the space. I'm gonna beat you this month because I just have a lot more marketing and volume going than you. But you could still steal a little bit, right? Because there are tens and hundreds and if not billions of dollars of assignment fees in a city or a market to be made. All you have to do is just take and siphon off just a little bit of that. Like, just give me like $1 million of market share. That's all I need for assignment fees, right? Starting out as a kid, right? That's all you have to do to get your start, get some money, and then start reinvesting it. So if you're 17, you're just getting started, how are we gonna throw some eyeballs our way? Well, first and foremost, I would not recommend that you try to be a small version of what most of the more advanced wholesalers do. And what I mean by this is, people who are doing direct mail, don't try to do a cheap version of direct mail. If someone's spending 10 grand a month in Facebook ads, trying to spend 500 bucks on Facebook ads is not gonna be a good idea. Trying to do your own SEO is not gonna be a good idea. Your PPC, like, don't try to do a smaller version of what's working with the same list. And so if somebody's pulling a lot of money on a cold calling operation, what they're doing is pulling the high equity lists. What you need to do is you could still cold call, but what you should do is not go high equity, just do it with niche data, right? Data that the big guys are just not doing. Probates, pre-foreclosures, pulling the lien list, right? Most big guys don't even do that. They just pull a high equity list and go crazy. So it's very important to go do that. And so what I would be doing with no money at all are one of 6 strategies. And these are the best strategies for 2025 to actually start getting eyeballs over to you with no money with sweat equity. So method 1, remember, I got my first deal from bandit signs. I don't think they're too good anymore. So what I tell you to do is do digital bandit signs, right? So this is going out here and posting on Facebook groups, Craigslist ads, and getting in front of people with 30, 40, 50,000 people in the Facebook group saying that you're looking to buy houses for cash. Now in Wholesaling.com, I have a free course inside of the entire free course, right? I have my own course within the course called the Digital Bandit Sign Academy. And inside of Wholesaling.com, I teach you how to start posting digital bandit signs and how to do it absolutely for free. And remember, it's a $5,000 course that I give completely, absolutely for free. And trust me, digital bandit signs are going to get you a ton of looks, especially if you know how to use AI and get the actual eyeballs over to you. Number 2, email blasting. Why am I saying email blasting number 2? Here's the truth, guys. Drastic times call for drastic measures, and we are in a war of wholesaling. A lot of our competition is doing a ton of stuff that's gonna be very, very hard for us to replicate. And if you ever read The Art of War or any military tactics, what do you do when you go against an army that is way bigger than you and way better manned? Do you do the same strategies? Because if 10 men are fighting at you and you have 2 men, are you gonna do what they're gonna do? No. What you're gonna have to do is do an uncommon maneuver. You might want to go a pincher formation. You might want to do some guerrilla warfare. You attack, run away, come back. But you have to do unconventional and new tactics to go out here and win. Now, wholesaling, real estate, and war, similarities, differences, business in general, right? But email blasting is a super underutilized marketing channel that most wholesalers do not do correctly, or they don't know how to do at all. Now, I'm gonna get in trouble again for saying this, but I do have an entire course called my email offer generator system, which I have completely for free inside of my community, freewholesaling.com. I teach you how to do that. The only unfortunate part is you have to do a lot of manual skip tracing to get this going, or use X Leads and get your 15,000 skips included for free for 97 bucks a month. Really up to you which one you wanna do. But email blasting, if you do have the funds for it, or you can find someone to give you some skips, email blasting is insanely powerful because most people aren't using it. I've already predicted this, but I know in the next 5 years, this is gonna be a saturated marketing channel. So please, please, please do it now before you start crying to me and complaining that it's too saturated now. Guys, I have people crying to me about how sticky notes, right? I came out with this method 4 years ago, teaching people how to put sticky notes on houses. Now everyone says, no, everyone's putting sticky notes on houses, Zach. I said, yeah. In 2021, I said, hey, it's gonna get very saturated. Do it now before my channel keeps blowing up. And guess what? Now we're the largest wholesaling community, largest wholesaling YouTube channel by views and subscribers per month and all this stuff. So unfortunately, our following and all of our channels have kind of blown up where everyone's kind of doing this now. So I am calling a spade a spade. Email blasting is gonna get very oversaturated in the next 4 or 5 years. So do it now before you start complaining. Next, again, one of the classics, but anything that is free SMS and cold calling, specifically Google Voice. But this is classic. You're gonna be competing against another subsect of people who have no money because most people just go into the texting and cold calling part. The cool part is any Joe Schmo getting started in wholesaling real estate, especially if you're learning on my channel and stuff, they're gonna hit this first. They're not gonna do digital bandit signs or email blasting because that's just too hard and difficult to understand. I have to spend 30 minutes studying it. So that means that most people aren't willing to do that. But if you can call and text niche lists, right, government provided data, code violations, probate, fire damage properties, the water shut-off list, if you can hit that data set with free texting and calling, you're definitely gonna use a free skip tracing service, so I'd probably recommend truepeoplesearch.com on this. Or if you wanna pay for it right, you can just go out here and use xleads.com too. It really depends on your budget. But that's how to get the phone numbers absolutely for free, or get just a bulk free, just get a bulk unlimited free skip tracing option for the email blasting too. But SMS and cold calling is definitely gonna be your bread and butter. There's gonna be way more competition doing this than pretty much anything else when you have no money, but it still is one of your only ins on getting rich, especially with no money. Now, number 4 here is another classic, and it is one of my favorite, which is, again, driving for dollars. Now, again, why do I love driving for dollars? Because you have an unfair advantage over all of your competition if they're virtually wholesaling in your market. So if you live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and that's where you actually live, I'll be straight up with you, there's a lot of virtual wholesalers who are going into that market because it's really good. Like, especially me, for example. I'm crushing in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The best part about it is I can't go out here and drive for dollars or have my team go out here and do it, or any other virtual wholesaler. So if you can do that, you already have an unfair advantage over a lot of your virtual wholesaling competition. So I highly recommend you actually drive for dollars. And again, it takes a certain level of commitment to go out here and actually drive for dollars versus just pulling a list, calling it for an hour. Like, you got to dedicate some time to driving for dollars. Again, it's one of my favorite things to do, but you are going to get deals because the average person doesn't want to put in an ounce of effort. Again, the bar has never been lower to become successful wholesaling. Most people aren't willing to drive for dollars. I'm telling you right now, if you drive for dollars and you stick to it consistently, at least 5, 6, 7 hours a week, you are going to win. Number 5 here. Bam! Throw a sticky note out there and get a deal. Guys, these little sticky notes are going to change your life if you know how to use them. I just talked to a guy, Irvin, yesterday. He made $100,000, his first wholesaling real estate deal, because he found an ugly house and he put a sticky note on the door. The thing about sticky notes are they work better than any type of direct mail. We got Joe Schmoes out here like me that are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month in the market to throw in these postcards saying we buy houses cash with a 1% response rate, when you can go out here, throw a sticky note on a house right there and get a 20 to 30% response rate. What you gotta do is write on the sticky note, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about your property, please give me a call back, and you are gonna get responses. The point is you either find ugly houses by drawing for dollars and you put a sticky note on the door, or you pull, let's say, a pre-foreclosure list, have AI give you a route of the 30 pre-foreclosures, which is the most efficient route. You go around, you find the pre-foreclosure, you slap a sticky note on there. I'm calling it the Uber Eats DoorDash method, but it is changing people's lives. Shout out to Irvin there, 55 grand his first deal. Really inspiring. So number 5 here is gonna be sticky notes. I didn't come up with this when I was starting out, which is really interesting. But if I had this, oh my gosh, it would have been insane. But you guys have an awesome advantage here. Then last but not least, I'm gonna say JVs. So joint venturing, guys, if you can go out here and just be a part of our community, right? Again, we have ZachDiscord.com, the largest wholesaling real estate Discord, and FreeWholesaling.com, the largest wholesaling community in general. By the way, we literally revamped all the course content. So I deleted everything, as you guys know, and uploaded the perfect, most highest quality content on how to wholesale houses. I have modules for all this stuff in here, but being part of a community and finding people who, let's say, hey, I can't find a buyer. You just go into freewholesaling.com, you can learn how to find buyers within a couple hours, and you'll be able to find legit, awesome cash buyers and provide a solution to that wholesaler that can't sell their wholesale deal. Now you're splitting a deal 50-50. I had another guy who couldn't sell this deal and he JV'd with one of our community members and he made $30,000. There's a $60,000 assignment fee, but they split it 50-50. He got 30 grand from just finding a buyer. Wholesaler A was really happy because he couldn't dispo it. Now he's making 30 grand. Wholesaler B is like, I never even lock up the dang deal. I didn't know marketing. I just used one of my buyers in my X-Lead CRM. It's a win-win for success. So that is how you can make your first 100 grand. I got my first 100 grand by sweat equity, by not spending really any money, but throwing in time. Now I did spend a couple $100 on bandit signs, but really it's all about getting eyeballs to your message. So how I do it, if I was 17 years old again, digital bandit signs, email blasting, calling and texting absolutely for free, trying for dollars, throwing sticky notes out there and JVing, and just being part of the community at freewholesaling.com and ZachDiscord.com. So make sure you join the communities completely for free. If you got any value from this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.